Yes, ladies and gentlemen, we are back again. It is Friday night on the bus, and of course, as I always say, you know what that means. It's time for that Friday feeling. It's been a long, tedious international break just after a tournament as well. But yes, we've now got through it, folks. We've got through it together, and we are back. Celtic are back. Can't wait for it tomorrow. I'll tell you somebody who definitely, though, doesn't want tomorrow to come will be Stephen Naismith, because his, as it says in the title, broken Hearts team will be travelling through to Glasgow tomorrow. The Jammed Hearts are in town. I'm sure it'll be a feisty occasion. So me and Liam will be talking about that tonight, as well as all the other little bits of Celtic news that are going on just now. And yeah, I just mentioned his name there. Liam, it's that time again. We're back for another wee run. Another national break is in a month's time. So we've got a few more Friday night shows to come. So it's a lot of good fixtures coming up, a lot of big fixtures, but starting tomorrow, obviously with the Jambos. But first and foremost, mate, how are you doing, sir?
Doing very good, mate. Really good. Yeah. So, international break. Managed to see a couple of the games. Seen the two Scotland games, and I saw the England Ireland game. And but Christ, couldn't wait for it to be here. Watching Scotland's like going to the dentist. You know, horrible. Amazing. Have you ever seen a dentist?
It was quite it was just typical Scotland at the moment. Of course, we did cover Scotland's matches in the Euros, and yeah, they haven't really changed their ways from the summer there. And yeah, the bad results continue. Poland and Portugal, and we've still got Croatia to play, and more games against Poland and Portugal. I don't think Scotland are going to do too well in this Nations League. Anyway, that's another story for another time. Also, we talk about Celtic tonight. So, of course, before we go any further, folks, and you can do all that good stuff that helps us out massively. You can hit the like button. Of course, helps out with the old algorithm, gets the bus recommended in more people's inboxes on YouTube. Of course, you can get involved in our comments section tonight, like many of the regulars already doing. Let's see who's in. We've got McLaughlin P, 420 somewhere, Smell the Glove, Joe Hendry, Jim Dolan, Jim C, Graham Tyrrell. Yes, as I always say, all the hits are in tonight. It's all killer, no filler. Of course, you can hit the subscribe button if you've not done so yet. If you're new to the bus, you've only just discovered this humble little channel, then you can help us out massively. Hit that subscribe button, hit the bell notification, and you will, of course, be notified when the bus is on the road. And yeah, you can share the link of the Boise Bus far and wide on whatever social media platform tickles your fancy. And head over to piesports.com. The logo's up there in the top right-hand corner. It'll be on your screen above Liam's head there, piesports.com, and use that code BUS1888 to get 12.5% off all your tasty pastry treats. And also, apparently, we're now on TikTok as well. That's a thing. So, hey, if you're into TikTok, then go find us on that too. So, yeah, all the good stuff out the way, all the housekeeping done, Liam. Yeah, let's get in it. Let's get our Friday feeling on the road. So, first things first, before we get into talk about the Hearts game, whatnot, let's talk about some of the news that's happening. And today, our captain got his just desserts. He got his reward, Player of the Month. Is it too early to say that Calum McGregor could even be Player of the Season this season? Because he has started incredibly. And when last I was on speaking to David and Regan, we're talking about obviously the Rangers game. He scored in that one. He scored 3 goals already this season, which is quite a good tally for Calum McGregor because he doesn't tend to score many. But one of the big things I pointed out on that Tuesday show with Regan and David, and I've noticed there's a massive change in his game, is he's actually having a shot from outside the area for too long now. And this even goes back to when Ange Postecoglou was in charge. I feel like Celtic at times, they waste a lot of chances where it opens up right in front of them. They always look for an extra pass, another pass here, another wee sideways pass, try walk into there, try to score the perfect goal. Something that might be too wrong with football nowadays because a lot of teams always try to score the perfect goal. But it's been so encouraging to see Calum McGregor having a pop-up goal from outside the area. And it's not even just like wild Ryan Christie-esque, just swinging at it, hitting hope. He's finishing with some precision, and obviously that goal against Rangers, Liam. I mean that already that could be in the goal of the season contenders when we get to May next year. That might be in amongst it. But yeah, he's been on fire so far, and one may it continue, Liam.
I mean, he's got that ability to be dangerous in the box. We've even seen him do it in Europe, in there, years ago when he first came into the Brendan team as well. So I think that's probably down to coaching. I think there was probably I remember the time when Cameron Carter-Vickers had a goal for outside the box and it went skying over, and and there was that exchange between him and Ange, where Ange was giving him that, like, like, what do you think then, sort of thing, So I think there's been more of, a change to Callum's game. There's probably just, he's been told to be more direct. And I think that's what he's gotten as well. The fact that he started off as a striker, as he understands that even if that ball doesn't come in, he knows what side to go for it. And if he just gets a hand in it and it pops back out, it's in a very dangerous area. I love the fact that he always uses a player as a screen as well. He does well that of finding that just one route that, anticipating the momentum or whatever it is, the defender, but he manages to get it through bodies, and so it takes a lot of the keepers off guard. That lets him see those like slow low balls that go into the corners because you just don't see them. I think Callum's having a great game. I mean, season so far. The fact that that's his first ever Player of the Month award. That's crazy, isn't it? I mean, he's played his entire career in Scotland with Celtic, a team that's been dominant, and he's always been one of our better players. Not once has he won Player of the Month. It'd be interesting to see who's won that ahead of him, and where are they now?
Yeah, I know he's been a consistently good performer for us for many, many years now. But yeah, his first Player of the Month award. But say, looking at his form in the last few weeks, it's been phenomenal. And Patrick McLaughlin's coming in, and I think he could be on this international retirement will benefit us no end. It's also been quite funny that every time Steve Clarke seems to have turned up to a Celtic game this season to watch whatever players he's watching, Calum McGregor seems to ping one in. He did it at St Mirren, he did it at Hibs, and I'd imagine Steve Clarke was probably at the Celtic Rangers game as well. I'd imagine he was probably at that one too. So yeah, it seems to be a good luck charm for Calum McGregor, but I know it's a couple of weeks old now, but I'm sure the viewers won't mind us indulging a little bit more in some chat about that, because obviously, Liam, you haven't been on for a few weeks now since the Rangers game. The last time you were on was the night before, and that performance, that's exactly what we look for. The perfect, just that wee block of fixtures running into the first international break. It couldn't have went any better. I think you said on the Friday night, you and Russell were very, very confident of doing them. I said, I could see us winning more like just, so not really too much trouble, but you were like, no, we'll run all over them here, and it went exactly like that. And top of Calum McGregor, I think that goal just summed it up. It was one of the ones, because where I sit in the stadium is perfectly in line with that goal. I'm behind him in the lower Jogstein, and the trajectory of the ball, as soon as it left his foot, just you can see the line of it. It's one of these weird phenomenons when you're watching football where you can actually just see the line for some reason where the ball's going to go. And just took the roof off the place, took the net off of the goalposts. An absolute, as I'd say, a thunder bastard. But yeah, that performance overall, Liam, if you want to have a quick say on that, I'm sure.
I thought everything that we talked about happened. We got everything that we wanted out of that. We got goals, we got early dominance. We had absolutely no pressure from them whatsoever. And we went in and we scored really good goals, and we still didn't look like we got out of cruise control. It still looked like there's a better form for Celtic to still get to, and I don't see much in them at all. In fact, if Steve Clarke was at that game and both Conor Barron and Suter got caps for Scotland, and he was at the game, that makes no sense. Surprised he didn't take McCown after that game if you were comparing midfielders. But I thought it was a great game. I think I hate that we always have an international break after that, because I think games like that, all that momentum now goes to Canada and Honduras and Scotland and Ireland teams. Whereas you must be buzzing after a game like that and want to get back into your league and just show that dominance and steal. Now we're getting back and got jet lag and we're getting it back up again. But anyway, it's hard to talk about that as well.
There's a few moments last season as well where when things were stuttering a little bit for us, we would always have like a pure blinding game and then like an international break right after it. I think when we beat Aberdeen 6-0, remember that game? I think we had an international break like right after it, and then we came back and I think we drew with, Motherwell, I think, at Celtic Park. So yeah, they can be in this, but the way we're playing right now, I just feel like there's something, over the summer there, whatever Brendan has instilled in them is working massively compared to where we were a year ago when Brendan had first came back, and try obviously that transition from Ange to Brendan. It was really sloppy to watch, and we just weren't really getting anywhere. But you're right in saying that, and I agree about the cruise control being in second gear. It did feel like that against Rangers. It was like just brushed them aside. They didn't really threaten us at all. They had a couple of chances near the end when we were 3-0 up. So, yeah, and the best bit about it is the one benefit, though, from international break coming after those types of games was they've got to stew on that. They've got to now, they've 2 weeks after that result to try and remedy it. Although, in typical fashion from them and their fans, are suddenly piping up again. They've had 2 weeks to go away and reflect, and apparently now some Albanian guy that they signed is going to be the new hero. So yeah, the cycle continues. There's always that cycle that they go around, and we're now at the stage where they've got a new messiah that's going to be the answer. And we'll see how that works. But they need to worry about getting out of fourth place just now. So good luck to them with that one. But let's talk about some of the other news that's going on, because personally, we'll get to talk about doing the Friday feeling, because obviously you're in Canada. You are indeed Canada's favourite, Tim. You're the wise man of the bus and Canada's favourite. But obviously another Canada's favourite, Tim, Alistair Johnston, a new contract on the horizon for the right back. A lot of chat this week, a lot of fans excited at the prospect, and some are even saying he might be the best right back we've had in recent times. I would still say that maybe Mikael Lustig. It depends on what you're deeming as recent times, though. That's the thing. People say, what was recent from 2020 onwards? Are we talking in the last decade? Because if we're going in the last decade, you'd probably say it's probably Lustig. But yeah, the right back position since Lustig has been a bit of a problem. Jeremy Frimpong definitely threatened to become the best without a shadow of doubt. He was signed as a third choice. Remember, he was signed as a third choice right back, and he just took his opportunity when it came. But yeah, I mean, to be fair, Johnston, I think from probably the sort of March last season, because up till that point, he'd been a bit stuttery last season. We'd begin to wonder, what's the future hold for Alistair Johnston? But I think he's came onto a game, I say, around about February, March time. And yeah, he's been one of our star performers so far this season. He was heavily involved, obviously, in the Rangers game with setting up Maeda's goal. And also, like, even the goal that was disallowed, he was involved in that play out from the back. That really quite, even though Rangers were pressing us really hard in the first 10, 15 minutes, we didn't seem panicked by it. And he was involved in the little move that got us out of there, got us up the park. But he's becoming a very crucial part. And I think a new contract is, to be fair, new contracts, as we know, Liam, they don't necessarily mean much. They don't mean he signs a 5-year deal, he'll be here for 5 years. But I get just Celtic just doing that thing of try to protect their assets. They can see this guy's stock is starting to rise. He had an excellent tournament in the summer with the Copa America. And, we talk about players in the international caps, and we use that as a selling point. So clearly Canada are a country on the up. So people are going to start taking notice of him. So I think it's also a partly Celtic are just protecting their asset as well. And if a team does come in looking for him at some point in the near future, it pushes his value up. But for the time being, what he's doing here for us right now, you can't really argue. He's been one of our star performers so far this season.
Yeah, I think there's going to be a lot more to Alistair Johnston in the next 2 years. We've got a World Cup coming up here in Canada where we're one of the hosts. So I think there's going to be a pressure for him to be more over here and stuff like that as well too. You see that a lot of times MLS will try and sign back, a player or two to get the interest going, so that they've got a natural home base as well. Like, they'll fill up all the other stadiums. It's getting the USA and Canada to be the dominant crowd, when it's your home city. That doesn't happen here a lot of the times. It's more Mexicans. Like, you got a Canada-Mexico game here. It's all Mexicans. Yeah. Can't get a ticket, So, anyway, it's going to be really interesting. He was team of the tournament in Copa America. Yeah. So that's going to raise your profile as well. Mm-hmm. So I think we've had... The only reason we're reacting like that is not because we're on the ball and all of a sudden we're fucking super savvy since this window happened. Mm-hmm. There's has to have been interest in him. He's also playing for Jesse Marsch now as well.
Yeah.
Very well connected through the Man City group. I'm not saying he could go into any of the teams, but if it was one of the teams, I'm sure they've got an eye on him, and I'm sure there's conversations that he's had with his former staff, employers, connections and all that. I'm still on the fence. I thought Alistair Johnson was poor last year. As you said, yeah, he did build it up towards the end of the season.
Yeah.
Everybody was sort of picking up their game at that point, you know.
Yeah, totally.
You know, he still bothers me the way he tracks back.
Mm-hmm.
When on the inside, the goal side of a guy, I don't know what happens. He panics. He still does a lot of rash challenges and stupid stuff that he gets away with. He does it with Canada as well. I watch him a lot. Is the best right back we've had since it's not even a patch in Michael Lustig. Michael seasoned international, scored great goals for us and had everything. Character, he had like bravery, he had finesse. He'd surprise you. You know, remember that last goal he scored against Rangers where he popped out out of nowhere? Like,
yes, so I remember it very, very well.
What a goal that was, you know. So Michael Lustig always could give you that. I don't think Alistair Johnson is anywhere near that at this stage in his career. Could get there, but he's nowhere near it now.
Well, as I say, the people who are obviously saying best right back in recent years, what are they deeming recent? That's the thing. They're not really clarifying if they're including the last decade. I'd say it's still Lustig, really. Lustig probably did stay maybe 1 or 2 years too long, but yeah, when he was at his best, yeah, he was excellent. But if you're talking from the 2020s onwards, yeah, it's pretty much it's going to be. There isn't much real choice. Juranovic could have got longer at him, and Juranovic was good for what he was, but yeah, he didn't stay long enough. He was only here about a year and a half. Same times, yeah.
Kenny.
Oh no, it's definitely not John Kenny. Moritz Bauer, remember him as well? Yeah. That El Hamid that was signed looked like he was going to be a good one, but he got homesick, and yeah, that didn't amount to much as well. He actually seemed not too bad, but yeah, in terms of he's definitely. I'd say Johnston. He's been playing well recently, so yeah. Hopefully, you know, if they're getting the new contract. I agree with what you're saying, though, about it's Celtic and they're not really sort of on the ball. They see the value going up. So at the end of the day, that's football, isn't it? You've got to protect your assets. And but if Johnson obviously gets that new deal, which he's going to get and signs it, then yeah, if we get a few more years out of him, and it should push his value up even more. But yeah, for the time being, he's been fantastic so far. So long may that continue. What about the other side though? I think Gregory's going to get that contract extension. Yeah, had to get that mentioned in there. I don't think he will, but I think he's going to leave at the end of the season. I think he wants to move on.
I've had dreams where I'm bumping into him in Vancouver. I can see it already happening. I saw a guy that looked like him earlier in the week, and it was just like, wait a minute, he's an international. No, he's not on it. Maybe he's signing with the Whitecaps because he turned in it. Just get power to him, but Christ, I don't. Honestly, some of the people that are like on Twitter, we need to get Greg signed up on a 5-year. What the hell are you smoking there? That makes come on, Taylor, we're talking about people. No, fucking.
Yeah. No, I think the boy. I think I've said this to like David and Regan, but Celtic at times can be victims of their own success. No, Matt O'Reilly said when he moved to Brighton, he wanted a new challenge. The boy had won everything in the couple of years that he'd been here. What more was a realistically achieve? And some players, you know, judge it on that. Greg Taylor didn't grow up a Celtic fan. That's well publicised. He's came here. He's proved a lot of people wrong. He's won a lot of trophies. Maybe he just looks at it as it's nothing personal, but what more do I have to achieve? And maybe he just fancies something new. But yeah, I think the fact we've let him get to this stage and there isn't a new contract, and we don't normally do that. It's quite rare that we allow that to happen. David Turnbull was one recently that got to that stage, but it's not something we allow to happen too much. It suggests to me that maybe there's been talks there and he's told them thanks, but no thanks. But we'll wait and see. But if he signs a 5-year deal, then Jesus, man, that scares me as well, to be fair.
If it does, Phil, if it does, it says a lot about where we are in the pecking order. It means that we don't, after all this time with the B team and all that, that we don't have a left back coming through the system. Because she'll be about 27, 28 soon, something like that. We're young.
Absolutely.
Like, okay, so the Mitchell Frames and that, and the people, the Dane Murray, I know he was injured for a while and he's on loan now. But my God, there's got to be somebody coming through for their talent system.
Is it Matthew Anderson or something like that, who got a couple of minutes in pre-season? Yeah, and it's Mitchell Frame, you brought him up there. That amazing 10-minute cameo against Feyenoord, we'll always have that. Where are you now, Mitchell Frame? Just disappeared into the abyss.
Out the frame altogether.
He is at the frame. He literally is. But yeah, we'll see what happens with that one. But at the moment, nothing in terms of Greg Taylor. But it's Alistair Johnson. It looks like he be getting tied up to a new deal. Now, I saw that obviously Mark and Russell had a wee say on this last night, but it's still quite topical, and I think we'll have a wee say on it as well. So what do you make of the wee Willie Collins' new venture with the VAR show on YouTube, giving us an insight? Pulling back the curtain, Liam, and letting us know, is like, I know down in England they did something, I want to say last season, Howard Webb fronted it, and I think Michael Owen was involved in it. So they did something similar in England where they had a show, and I think that was the one that highlighted the Liverpool and Tottenham game last season when they made an absolute howler down in England where Liverpool scored a goal, I want to say, was it Diaz? And it turned out it was onside, but they deemed it offside, and VAR looked at it and were like, it's onside and you need to stop the play, but they'd already restarted the play, and it just turned out an absolute mess. I'm sure down in England they've done that, but it seems like we are now doing something similar. Willie Collins fronting up, sitting down with Gordon Duncan on YouTube and going through numerous incidents. Have you managed to watch it, Liam? There was a few eye-opening moments, a few interesting confessions, and of course the big worry is it's all well and good 5 weeks, 6 weeks after the event to go, sorry guys, we got that wrong. But if that's a big decision that costs a team a game, and the one that was highlighted for us was obviously the Kilmarnock game at the start of the season when Kyogo got absolutely assaulted by the Killie goalkeeper. And it wasn't even, they deemed that the goalie had just made himself big, and it was actually the striker, Kyogo, that instigated the contact. And it's like, no, man. And of course, he's obviously came after and said, yeah, we've looked at that one and decided that was actually the wrong decision. So in that game, we won that comfortably. So in the end, it didn't matter. But there will come a day when it will be a decision that does affect us or any other team for that matter. So to me, the fact that they can just kind of do these shows and just sort of put their hands up and go, sorry, guys, we got it wrong there. It's like, I think there's got to be more consequences. Again, you see it in England. If a referee has a clang or makes a massive mistake, they get demoted to the lower leagues. We saw it in the Euros where referees got sent home from the tournament. Obviously, I'm looking at the one from the Stuart Armstrong incident. UEFA deemed it such a big mistake that they sent him and his whole team back home. They were like, you're not going to referee any more games. But yeah, to me, it's just like with the Scottish one, it's just like, oh yeah, well, in 5 weeks' time, we'll come out and admit it was wrong. But life goes on, guys. But what did you make of it then, Liam?
Well, first of all, I thought it was great. I thought it was a brave decision to actually create a show like that or something. So, Phil, is it going to be monthly?
I think it's monthly. They're going to do it. They let the clips build up for a month and then they'll go over it. Yeah.
So I listened to him on the Clyde thing as well. I was working doing some painting and that, so a good chance to put on Clyde when I heard Willie Collins was on it. That was interesting as well. Comes across okay, actually. You know, he's not as weird as I thought he'd be. You know, something like really weird. You know, he's still weird, but he's pushing it. I'd love to get the gig to do the opening title sequence for it if it does become a monthly thing. Like rolling up the trouser leg behind the apron, putting on the gloves, you know, hat, and then going to the VAR and setting it up. That'd be kind of nice. Fucking hell! See the guy making the goalie making himself bigger. Mm-hmm. So I think that was Greg Aitken. They said it was on the VAR, and I'm not really didn't he affect me as much as what was said. I mean, that was stupid comment and all that. But there was the desire to make it definite and infinite. Yeah. Move on. Mm-hmm. You know, and that's the one thing, you know, I'm a creative person. The worst thing you can do when you work with a non-creative person is that they're always fucking certain. The certainty. Certainty is the death of reason, right? You can't reason with anybody when they're fucking certain. Let's move on. Mm. And I think that was the thing that was coming through him. And you can't have that to be a good referee.
Yeah.
You have to have that degree of not skepticism, but but fairness. That well, maybe it wasn't this. He's looking for something. You know, you can force yourself to perceive what you think is going to happen and what you want is the best favourable outcome, and that will distort your vision into how you see things. We all do it in every single way. I think when you see that footage and you listen to what was happening, you're seeing bias there, and you're seeing that's a fan making a call. And I've said this before: when you get fans in front, you get fans in the middle of the park, and they're a Rangers supporter. There's still a referee first. They still have the crowd on them, the players on them. But when you take a fan and you put them in a room with nobody to answer to and a big television screen, I don't think you're getting an unbiased official. I think that person converts psychologically into a fan, and so his reactions and their decision making and all that stuff is, him being a fan, and so that's what it came across to me. No, he's made himself big. He wasn't looking for what happened. He was trying to defend the actions of what happened, and it was like of the goalkeeper. He's trying to look for every way he could help that team, and that is bias. And you've seen it as well too with the other one where Rossi, do I get that?
Is that what you call him phoning you?
Greg Taylor.
Greg Taylor, aye.
Anyway, here, I'll mute that. But yeah, that's what I felt like that. Anyway, I think it's a wonderful decision to go and do something like that and have that type of show. I think that transparency is what's needed. I mean, Christ, hope Celtic do one next year for the transfer. We do the transfers with them.
Aye. Well, the thing is as well, the word that got used during that bit of analysis from Willie Collum was the word reckless was used. And if you cast your mind back to the Euros, because I always like to think that I use the word precedent a lot. If a precedent has been set, and obviously the SFA are our governing body, and then UEFA are the governing body of the SFA because they're the ones above them. So if you cast your mind back, right, to the Euros, 2024 Euros, are the semi-finals between the Netherlands and England, there was a weird moment where England got a penalty for what was deemed a reckless challenge, right? Where Denzel Dumfries, the Dutch right back, and Harry Kane swung for the same ball and their feet basically connected, and it was deemed a penalty because it was a high boot both of them it was both a high boot. But yeah, the defender was penalised, but it was deemed reckless because apparently if it was anywhere else on the park, it would also be a foul. So that word get used, and it's like, well, look at the goalkeeper, right? And the Kilmarnock one, that was reckless. Willie Collum used that word, and he did obviously they did admit, okay, it was a penalty, they got it wrong. But when it comes to like penalty decisions, there doesn't need to be intent there. If it's a reckless challenge, if it's a clumsy mistake, if he body checks him anywhere else on the park like that, it's going to be a foul. It's going to be a foul every time. So it's like, well, you're right in saying the way they analysed it, where they're like, oh, they just moved on and they just decided they were so matter of fact about it, and they couldn't even tell the referee, look, I'll tell you what, come to the screen and make your own mind up if they're 50-50 on it. To me, it just came across as they thought, Celtic are winning comfortably. There's a couple of minutes to go. Just get on with it, And it's again, that's not the point of it. It's like if it's a foul, if it's a penalty, regardless of the scoreline, you've got to abide by the rules because again, precedent will be set. Because now, what if something similar happens in another game between any teams in the SPL or SPFL for the rest of the season? And what do? Do they give them a penalty? If something happens, because Willie Collum is saying things like, we've obviously took that one in the chin, we got it wrong, we're coaching the referees, and somebody said in the chat that there was a lot of self-preservation. There was Graham Tyrrell came in and said Paul Collum was very self-preserving, saying he's coaching the referees to do better. So now, if that incident happens again, a similar one where a goalkeeper recklessly body checks a player going for the same ball, it's going to be a penalty this time because they've learned from their mistakes this time. Again, as I say, that just feels to me like there's no real punishment there other than they just put their hands up and go, we got that one wrong. Sorry, guys.
I mean, we see it all the time. I mean, Willie Collum was one of the players, one of the referees and all. Demoted. He talked about that in Clyde about, they'd go through feelings of form and all that when a referee's got form and shit. And it's like, I refereed junior football when I was younger and all that. And honestly, you don't need to be going through form. You either understand the game and you get it right, or you don't. You know, there's things that you'll miss, but that's because you're behind your back. The stuff with the referees and the VARs and all that, VAR to me should be, that's when you take all the emotion out of it. I don't need a referee's interpretation of what happened. I just want to know, but at times it gets to VAR. Is that against the rules or is it no? And at that point, I mean, they want to shy to use that approach where, you know, with was it the Tomoki handball?
Yeah, the one at Tynecastle back in February, yeah.
And so, you know, in that one, they went strictly by the book. Well, if it says this, it says that. So, I don't know, Willie Collum's got to get his referees together and just figure out, rather than this sort of like accumulated learning, where this week we're now going to be talking about offsides, and next week, you know, and it's always get the advantage of it, you know. You know, I mean, this whole shit with the lines drawn on the park, you know, that first goal against Rangers, first goal. See anything wrong with it? And it's, you still don't have a full explanation of what was that on the show, Phil?
No, it wasn't. Maybe that'll be on the next one. So it was right at it was officially in September, wasn't it? So maybe that'll be September's ones. They'll gather them all up. But see, the interesting one about that offside, they deemed them offside because they drew in the line. You know, they drew it across the park, even though the camera wasn't perfectly in line. It was still at an angle. But if you actually look at the cut of the grass can actually show you a line essentially without even having to draw one. And it was his shoulder that was essentially was offside, but you can't score with any part of your arm. So why? That's when I said this way back when VAR came in. I remember when it first got introduced in England, and they were disallowing goals and stuff like that because, like, I saw a Liverpool goal get disallowed one time because Sadio Mane's arm was offside. It's like, he can't score with his arm, so why should that be deemed offside? If it's his foot, maybe I get it, right? Because that's the part you can score with, but not with your arm. But yeah, it was his shoulder, his arm was a little bit further forward, but his feet were. The Rangers defender and him were in line with each other, and I say you can see the cut of the grass. You can actually see a different shade of two different shades of green.
Right.
You can see that their feet are basically on one side of the green, and it's like, oh, honestly, man, those ones are so tedious. They do my head in. And again, I wasn't even surprised when the VAR warning came up in the stadium. I wasn't even surprised when they disallowed it. You know, that's just part of the course.
I really hope that the VAR room has got like separate people. I hope the referee's just there to sit in a chair and that. Like, I hope they're no the ones drawing the lines. I hope they've got like some wee techie guy or something. Actually, could punch all the buttons and get it sorted for them and all that. No, they're trying to draw on themselves and all that, because that's sort of suspicion I have. That's the way they do it. When you see stuff like that, and you see the presentation and the way it comes back, and it's like, it's been done in like an Etch-a-Sketch or something. It's not a 45-degree angle, and you can tell right away. You know, I don't know. We just have to. I don't know. The more we see about them, I think the more questions we'll actually have. It'll be one of those things. It's like all your worst fears are going to be realised. That yes, they have been making it up as they go along. Yes, it has been changed. And yes, there is bias.
Yeah, I totally agree. And Joe Henry, a fine point on it as well. Football is a game in the moment. Replays of any type are a step backwards, because that's one of the biggest issues with it is the time it takes. The time it takes to sort these things, and the delays in the stadium for the live audience is just... It's just, honestly, man, it's sucking the life out of the game. There's a lot of things wrong with football these days, and VAR is definitely one of them. But let's have a look a little bit ahead. Not to the game tomorrow. We'll do that at the tail end of the show. But just really quickly, Liam, because next time you'll be on, but next Friday with me, and we can do a recap of this one. But we've got European football starting next week, mate. Are you excited? Are you feeling up for it, Liam? Have you bought into the new Champions League format? Slovan Bratislava at home. Could we have asked for a better tie? Are we being naive by being a bit too confident about it, given we are absolutely horrendous in Europe these days? Or is it finally, are we going to turn the corner? Is this the game that we need? Is this the game that's going to get us back on track and maybe help make Celtic Park a fortress? Slovan Bratislava, Slovakia's champions. It's not Media Bratislava. They're obviously the other team from that city. We've obviously got a bit of a history with them. But yes, Slovan Bratislava, apparently managed by Vladimir Weiss Sr. and Vladimir Weiss Jr., who did play against us when he was on loan at Rangers about a decade ago. he plays for Slovan Bratislava, so he'll be at Celtic Park next Wednesday. I'm sure he'll get a very warm reception every time he's on the ball. But how excited are you, Liam, for next Wednesday night?
I thought it was Tuesday.
Is it Tuesday or Wednesday we're playing? I know we're playing midweek next week anyway, so European football's back next week. Wednesday, Tuesday, whatever day it is, we're playing anyway.
I'll find it. I am excited. Of course I'm excited.
Yeah.
It's one of the games you get to have a pint as well. So it's good to go and just reconnect with all the guys and all that. 63, Phil, and I'm still excited about this. I still think, okay, this is your year. I like what I've seen so far in pre-season. Thought we handled the teams we needed to handle. City, Chelsea, swiped Rangers aside. And I know we've only been playing to Scotland. This is why I'm like, I know I'm a mug.
Yep.
I'm forward for it again. I think we're going to do brilliant, mate.
Good. Glad to hear it, man.
Style of football we're playing. Okay, I think if we can come back, I'm excited to see who we're going to put on tomorrow, because that will give us a really good indication of what we're going to look like on Wednesday. And okay, so what is our European form going to be like? What's that lineup going to be? Is there any changes? Is it in tactically we're going to do? Is there going to be a surprise? Or do we look at what we're doing right now and just say, okay, this run of form right now is no joke, and it's not a fluke in any way. Okay, we caught Man City early, but we were early as well. Same with you. I looked at the team sheets. Regardless of whatever time of the season, there was a lot of good players out there in the park. That had just finished playing in the World Cup, like the Euros and that. So, yeah, there wasn't that much of a lag. And I thought we looked good. I thought the way we've moved the ball. So I think it just comes down to confidence. It comes down to, okay, do we have the players right now that are mentally focused at this stage in their career now, that when we hear that Champions League music, when it goes that your bottle doesn't crash, that you're not going to have one of the moments where you make the mistake, or you've zoned out, or you've no tracked your man back. Because that's sort of things that hurt us. The other stuff as well, I think we need some luck in this time.
Yeah.
And that's one thing we've not had in the last couple of Champions League things. I mean, you're talking about the tackles earlier, about the reckless challenges. I think Odin Holmes got sent off for that. Was sort of similar to that, where they both went in for the ball, but somehow he came out of it with the ball and got a bit of the player, but it didn't look like a straight red, So I'm hoping we get a bit of luck, that we don't get these like red cards and stuff like that we've had before. We've had to dig ourselves out of a hole. I think we need to just keep up doing what we're doing now, and that's score early. Score and not let it build up where we're playing, great football and all that, but then bang, we get sucker punched on the counter attack, which happens to us a lot. We get so full of ourselves and we're passing back and forward and all that, and then somebody's already read that, and they've got the speed, power, and athleticism, and at this level of football to punish you. It very rarely goes unpunished at this level. So I think this will give us a good idea of who's matured. It will tell you who Rodgers is going to trust. I wouldn't be playing Greg Taylor. We all know he's no good enough for Europe. But if we're going to try and force that square peg in a round hole again, I don't know, man. I don't know what he's saying. So, I'd like to see I'm dying to see what the Spanish boy looks like.
Yeah, well, we've got another left back now in the building. It's no like it was a few weeks ago where we only had one in the whole first team, and if he get injured or suspended, then what were we going to do there? We have got Alex Valier in. He played obviously for, I think, Getafe on loan last season, who I'd like to think we're in La Liga. I'm not actually sure. They're one of these teams that can kind of yo-yo between La Liga and the second division in Spain, but still a decent standard, whatever side we've played. So you like to think that at least we've got that option. And actually, Patrick McLaughlin's right. Trusty can play at left back as well. So we have got that. So there is options there now. You're right to highlight as well the red card thing, because I always say about Celtic, Celtic doing Celtic things, it always feels to me like we very rarely concede a goal in Europe that's an absolute screamer, like a pure top draw one, where you just have to sit back and go, nothing we could do about that. There's so many times where probably 80% of the time the goal is just self-inflicted because we've done something stupid, or we've got a guy sent off, we gave away a penalty, we've passed the ball right to somebody on the edge of the box. They just get sucker punched. You know, it happens so often to us, and say Celtic doing Celtic fines in Europe. So the luck thing is so true. We have to find a bit of luck as well. But I feel like I'm confident, and I'm intrigued by the unknown of this new Champions League format. We don't know how many points it's going to take to get into the top 24. Nobody knows. A lot of people are speculating that 10 points should be enough. But again, nobody knows at this point. It's exciting. There's something about it. When the draw, when they announced about the changes, and obviously they've done it just off the back of this Super League that was going to potentially happen. They had to do something to shake up the Champions League to appease the big teams. At the time, I was like, I don't know, man. I like the format. I'm used to it. Does anybody really want this? You know, with the convoluted new system, 36 teams, 8 fixtures randomly generated. I was like, did anybody really ask for this? And then when I saw it all play out in the run up to the draw, I couldn't get my head around how it was going to play out on TV. I was like, what is this going to be like as a television spectacle? How are they going to do this? But see, watching it, I was pure engrossed watching it. Cristiano Ronaldo just pressing a button and some fixtures pop up in the right-hand side. But I was pure glued to it. And obviously when the fixtures came out and I saw who we got, it's like, oh, do you know what? I'm up for this now. Like, I feel like we couldn't have really asked for, you know, a better set of fixtures. I think Terry said on an episode of PMP, said that there was 5 teams that he would have handpicked as teams he would have wanted to give us a chance, and all 5 of them came out in our fixtures. So it's got to. I say I'm buzzing for it. Bratislava, they will be tricky. We can't just go in, and Brendan Rodgers isn't going to go in, you know, confidently just say, we'll just turn up and we'll win here, boys. He'll treat them with the respect they deserve. Indeed, they're champions of their country for a reason. But again, if you had to look at our 8 fixtures and go, the 8 teams we're playing, who do you want to, what ground do you want to start at, and who do you want to play first? You would pick Slovan Bratislava and have them at Celtic Park. Even though, yes, our record there has been a bit poor recently, but nevertheless, this is it, mate. I think it's time for change, but I can't wait, man. I'm looking forward to it. I'm buzzing now. I hope to God to come full time. I'm not in the depths of despair. That sinking, familiar feeling, Liam, leaving the stadium going, how does this keep happening? I really hope this is. If we get off to a good start, I think it was said earlier on in the comments as well, because the next 2 games after that are Dortmund and Atalanta in the next run of fixtures. So yeah, we can't really afford to have a bad start here. We have to get maximum points there, and then with the away ties, just will be. Those ones are going to, you know, they're a free hit. But the home games we have to. This is the time. This is the time to make it count, because it's been too long now since we took a scalp. I don't remember this one, Liam. There was a good few years back, the Green Brigade did an unbelievable tifo at one of the European nights, and it was like a Grim Reaper, and they had all these gravestones, and on each one was the name of a team and the date that we beat them in the Champions League. So like Man United, Lyon, Juventus, Porto. And when you look back on that at the time, and you're like, because this was still at the time we were still, I think it might have been Lenny's first time in charge. I think it was maybe around about there. And yeah, you're looking at the teams, and oh man, you know, Celtic Park was such a fierce place for these teams to go. And then yeah, nowadays, like, you know, we got a win against Feyenoord last season in a dead rubber, and that was our first win in 10 years, and it's got to change, and it has to start on Wednesday. It's got to.
I mean, I used to think we'd batter Slovakian and Czech teams and, you know, teams like that. Now they come across and they're like, they're somehow technically proficient than us. And I've been over in those places. I've seen their league football and that, and it looks shite. You know, there's nothing to it. You know, same with Bulgarian football and that as well. And, you know, and yet when we come up against these teams, somehow they're so much technically better than us, or savvy, or whatever it is. But the one draw I'm excited about, I'm glad we got an English team, and I'm glad we got Aston Villa.
Yeah, that's the team I wanted as well out of them.
I like when we get an English team. I like going to the games, and I have to listen to so many English people over here. I think in the pub the other night for Liverpool, don't rate this Scottish league and this and that. And, you know, the same old thing. He doesn't watch any, it doesn't know any of the players. Oh, but Stevie G did all right. It's like, get to fuck. And, you know, so yeah, I like it when we take on an English team, because the arrogance and all that. And I don't think they're that good. Look at John McGinn and watch him play for Scotland, and there's a time and go, kind of glad he doesn't play with Celtic. You know, he's a frustrating player to watch when he's not on form. You know, and you know, so I think Callum will dominate him in the midfield.
I think he's a captain of Villa as well, so that'll be the handshakes at the start by Calum McGregor and John McGinn. I wanted Villa just because, you know, your teams like your Man Cities and stuff like that, their fans just don't care. See, the Champions League, they only care when they get down to the latter stages. It was the same with Arsenal, the same with the Liverpool fans. But see, because this is a new adventure for Aston Villa, every game for them will be really exciting for their fans, and the atmosphere will be really good, because one of the things English grounds get criticised for is the lack of atmosphere. There's very few grounds in England where there's a proper buzz, but I think the Villa fans will love it. And also, it's the last game of the league section, and all the games that night, every single game kicks off on the same night at the same time, so that no team has an advantage of knowing what they need to do. It's just a case of every single game, all 36 teams will be playing on that Wednesday night and kicking off simultaneously. So that will also add to it as well. So you'd like to hope that by the time we get to that fixture, Celtic are still in the hunt to get through in the knockout stages. Because that would be a real stinker if we're eliminated by that point, and hopefully it doesn't come to that. It would be fantastic if we're going down to Villa Park still looking for something to get through, because I think it'll be a really top atmosphere. It'll be a good game. Out of all the English teams that were in there, I think we've got the best chance of doing something against Villa, but they are still a good outfit. I do feel with the player, you know, Unai Emery has proved to be a good manager. Their goalkeeper, Emi Martinez, he's a bit of a madman. You know, we do like a madman goalkeeper at Celtic, like Boric and that. Emi Martinez is definitely a bit of a madman, but he's a good keeper as well. And Ollie Watkins up front is a very dangerous striker. So they've got that quality there. But yeah, I'm looking forward to that one. But sadly, it's the last game of the bloody the group stages for us, on the league stage. So we've got a long January 29th. January bloody 29th, we need to wait till before we play them.
Where's by then?
We might. I don't know if we've signed anybody in January, if we'll be able to use them, though. I think there'll be like you won't be able to play any players you sign in January. It'll be probably for the knockout stages. You'll have to register them. Right. I got a funny feeling UEFA won't allow us, but yeah, we've got a long wait for that one. But Bratislava comes first. Wednesday night, we've been told in the chat, it's definitely Wednesday. So Tuesday night, the Tuesday ticket will be on with David, myself, and Regan, and we'll look further forward to Bratislava. But now, Liam, let's talk about tomorrow. Let's talk about the Jambos coming to town. As I said at the top of the show, I'm looking forward to it. You're looking forward to it. All in the chat, we're looking forward to it, because that's been a long 2 weeks. But Stephen Naismith certainly isn't looking forward to it. But you know what? We don't care. We don't care, Stevie Naismith. We are relishing this, because they have had a shocker to a start to the season. And yeah, it couldn't really happen to a better team, essentially. Oh, Liam's went dark on me there. So I'll just keep talking. Oh, he's back now. You back with us, Liam? Yes, yeah, cool. You went blacked out there for a second.
I know.
But yeah, the Jambos, I say, they've had an absolute shocker to start the season. I think they've only scored one goal as well in the league. And they got a point against Rangers on the opening day, which came as big a shock to me as everybody else, I would imagine, because they don't usually pick up many meaningful points against them, but they managed to do that. But yeah, from our point of view, even if we had an international break, I don't think it's going to halt our momentum. But it's a good team to be coming to Celtic Park for us, because I think we're going to run all over them. And here's a novelty as well, Liam. It's a Saturday 3 o'clock kickoff. We don't see those that much these days, do we?
No, not at all. I mean, it's the first one this year. Is it the first Saturday game this year?
First Saturday game of the season, and it's also the last one for a little while.
Fucking hell, that's crazy. And yeah, we'll play before Rangers in our European games. So you'd think they'd want them to play on the Sunday to get the extra rest. I mean, that's what they usually moan about, right? How tired they are playing on Thursdays, you know. But I'm up for the Hearts game. I want to see big performance for Callum McGregor, the original Tom Petty, and the Heartbreakers. He always turns up. He always is a good game against Hearts. Maybe it's because when Andy Halliday tried to take his leg off, you know,
yeah,
and just first season, maybe that's it. But and also as well, Stevie Naismith's a moaning face prick as well. But I just hope we get out of it without any injuries, Phil. I want to see what I'd like to see is what we've been doing. I'm really, really happy with the football we're playing right now. I'm really really enjoying watching it as a fan. So I just want to see more of that. And the more you see of that type of football, just the more success it brings. You can't play that football without dominating and scoring goals. And right now, I think Kyogo's on fire. I think Dyson's on fire. Kuhn's playing out his skin. You know, and now we get we've got added boys coming in, challenging for positions. I think Bernardo had a really good game with Portugal, under 21, who he captained.
Brilliant against Rangers. He was excellent against Rangers.
He was fantastic. We've got Big Arnie, the Terminator, coming in. Big Arnie Eagles.
Yes.
See what he's like. Got his first cap for a very, very good Belgian side.
Yep.
I don't know. Let's see what we got here. I thought Hatate's been playing. He's been good on form. But, you know, we got McCowan. Thought he looked good when he came on.
Yep.
So, you know, as I said before, the only two we haven't seen. Thought Ida looked okay when he came on. He was duff with Ireland.
I was going to say, like, how long is it going to take him, do you think, to get fit? Because now, I don't know how much you can judge it, because the Irish national team, and I'm sorry to any of our Irish viewers and listeners, I mean, Scotland aren't good. I mean, Scotland, we're the kings of calamity, but I watched Ireland's game against England, and it's like, after all the build-up, going into the game and all the narratives and all the storylines about Declan Rice and Jack Grealish, and it's like, of all the things that could happen, that was a very Scotland thing that could have happened. You know, just the typical, the one thing you didn't want to happen, or the two things you didn't want to happen in NATO scores. I say Scotland, we're the kings of calamity, but that Ireland performance, of all the two players that could have scored, it was they two. But Ida in that game, I say the Ireland team behind him weren't giving him much to work with. But yeah, he's suffering from a lack of pre-season, and this is all down to all the haggling that went on and whatnot. But we did get him over the line eventually, but we need to see him get up to full speed pretty soon, because again, if Kyogo gets injured or anything like that, then we're relying on Ida. And right now, as somebody said the other day, doesn't look like you trap a bag of cement at this rate, which is quite worrying. But yeah, he didn't have much to work with for the Ireland game against England. And but yeah, we need him to get sharp very, very soon.
Aye, Hearts is a physical defence, so we might see him later on. I think if we get a couple of goals, you get Kyogo off, get him in the bubble wrap, you know, put him on in the sideline, send him back on for the dance with the fans, and that's it. You know, get him ready for midweek, and then I think that's the same way. You know, McGregor as well. Take McGregor off. You know, I think maybe Carter Vickers or that, but I think if we do go ahead, this is a good game to sort of try out and just see, okay, so if we're 2-0 or 3-0 ahead, I'd like to try to see, let's see if he changes the team anyways. That might give us an insight if he's got something for Europe in mind, you know. But again, I think it's an excellent opportunity to see Trusty or Valley or one of the newer players come in and see what they can add to this team as well. What have we got to lose? Nothing, you know.
Exactly. But no, it's say perfect opponents for tomorrow. I think with the disarray that they're in right now,
Right.
And for the Hearts, they always will try hard against us. They always will. I mean, last season they did get a couple of results against us. Obviously, they beat us at Celtic Park, 2-0, and then they beat us 2-0 at Tynecastle. Quite dodgy circumstances, but they still got the win nonetheless. We were absolutely terrible that day, regardless of the refereeing decisions. Celtic were garbage, but yeah, times have changed, and the forum right now could not be any vastly different right now. So yeah, it bodes well. Say if you had to handpick a team to be coming to Celtic Park tomorrow, then yeah, the Forum Hearts are in. That's the one you want. Obviously, Alistair Johnson did go off injured initially for Canada during the international break there, but it turns out he trained. Brendan Rodgers confirmed he trained today, and even the Celtic Twitter account went out of their way to post pictures of him training. And there was also pictures of Carter Vickers at the end of the Rangers game in like a protective cast, like boot, leaving the stadium. But he's been cleared as well. He's absolutely fine. There shouldn't be any issues there. In terms of, say, the new faces, I think it's going to be the same team pretty much that beat the Bears. If Johnston hadn't made it, then it would have probably been Ralston that would have came in, which would have been fine. You know, Ralston will always be totally serviceable for SPFL level games. There's no issue there if that happened. Interesting enough, I did see somebody on Twitter through the week. I saw Mark replying to them, and they were doing some serious, like, they're playing some serious, like, long game here and trying to justify not playing Ralston, where they're like, oh, you can now move Hattati there, and then we could have Bernardo and Engels and McGregor in midfield. And I saw Mark just reply and say, just play Ralston. It's like they were going out of their way just to find a way not to play Tony Ralston, and it's like, come on. I say, I mean, I know he's not exactly Lionel Messi or anything like that, but again, for a team like an SPFL level team to be playing against, and Ralston is showing that he's more than capable of coming in the games. But by the looks of it, it looks like Alistair Johnson will make it, and he'll play. But yeah, in terms of I would say Engels, would he get a start? I think right now Bernardo, you can't drop him. I mean, you highlighted him there, obviously, for his performances for the international break, but against Rangers and all, he was unbelievable. He was absolutely fantastic. And I know there might be some stats out there, some spreadsheets out there that might be trying to say otherwise. But again, I go by the eye test, Liam, the 4-eye test, because obviously I wear glasses as well. So I've got extra to view. But even in real time, watching the game in the stadium against Rangers, Bernardo was unreal. The way he was hassling them and winning balls and whatnot, yeah, he was excellent. So for me, I would still play him. I agree with you. If we're in a comfortable position, then by all means switch it up then, and then wrap some of these players in cotton wool, because the Bratislava game, that's huge. That cannot be emphasised how big that is. As I've said earlier on about who we're playing in the first game at home. We've got such a good chance to get off to a blinding start here. So if we do find ourselves in a really comfortable position tomorrow, then yeah, by all means, get the subs on. Boys like Luke McCown and that have shown already that I think he'll do pretty well at Celtic. When McCown's name first came up a few weeks ago, I was kind of like, I don't know, man, doesn't really do anything for me. But honestly, all it's taken is just like a couple of wee videos, just that one where he walked out at the stadium on the night he signed, just that look on his face, man. It was just like, right away, you're just like, I want this boy to do well. Like, you see, like, this boy's a Celtic fan, born and bred. He's living the dream. That smile on his face is just like, I really want this lad to do well. I think he talks really well in terms of like the presser that he did through the week. Obviously, even after the Rangers game, he got interviewed, just asking, talking to Sky Sports, and again came across really well. So yeah, man, I think I really want that lad to do brilliant at Celtic, and I think he's shown even in the short cameo we had against Rangers. I think he will do well. He looks like a steady player coming on. So I think we could he could be one of those ones where once the dust is settled now, because we're still a bit close to the summer transfer window there, but once we're a bit deeper into the season, don't be surprised, man, if we're looking back and going, God, Luke McCown, that was a steal, by the way, an absolute steal. I know a lot of people have been bringing up that Bernardo could be a steal, and yeah, they could be right on that one as well. But I think we could all be, me included. I was not that fussed about McCown initially, but then I'm like, no. Also, we might have one to watch for this one. But yeah, you get boys like him on tomorrow, because also we got Falkirk next week as well. And I think we'll see a few more now. I think McCown can't play in that due to being cup tied, because he played with Dundee in the League Cup. But obviously, maybe next week we might see Engels, Trusty, and whatnot, getting significant game time against Falkirk. That's next Sunday. There are 3 home games in a row as well. That's about, not only have we got a Saturday 3 o'clock kickoff tomorrow, 3 home games in a row. It hasn't felt like we've played that much at home this season, Liam. But yeah, 3 on the bounce now, and it starts to say tomorrow with the Jambos coming through. So just as we're about to finish up, because it's 59 minutes, Liam, are you going for the magic number 4 again, or is it going to be higher this time?
No, I'm taking 4 again, and I'm counting last game as a success. Said 4-0 as well, but I'm counting that Kyogo goal till I see definitive proof that was offside. So I'm going to take my 4 for that one.
4 for that.
4 again. I don't think Hearts have anything to trouble us, and I think we are on a good run of form.
Yeah. Well, you think about it, Shanklin's meant to be their main man, and he hasn't looked anywhere near it this season.
He's starting he's starting to grow into his face, huh? It's a weird it's like he doesn't look like he'd be a player that could play really good football, I just have to watch him. That time they beat us last year, was it 2-0? They beat us at home, and well, know what happened there. Like we got out muscled. So if it's Greg and Scalesy tomorrow, I think you got to really watch, like, make sure who's marking Shanklin, because he's this is the one game where he'll show up, and this is the one game where he will try and get on the score sheet and try and punish us as well. I mean, Hearts like to battle us, so yeah, I'm hoping we just get out of it with no injuries tomorrow. But I think 4-0 will be a really good, 4-0 at home. I think on the format we're playing, that's exactly what we need going into the Champions League. You know, no injuries, good one at home, get the fans buzzing. Can't wait to see you on Wednesday.
Yeah, definitely. And also an extra bit of incentive that Shell's brought up. Time to go 8 points clear of the Buns, because yes, there is that, because not only us could go 8 points clear of them, Aberdeen could as well, because a bit under the radar, but Jimmy Fallon, however it's pronounced, they're off to a flyer. Granted, Aberdeen haven't played Celtic or Rangers yet, but they are obviously winning games. And of course, Rangers are currently 4th behind Dundee United, who they play on Sunday. So you never know if Carling do weekends. Is it Carlsberg? I can't remember which beer it was that did the Carlsberg. If they could do weekends, it could be a really good one for us and a really bad one for Rangers. Because yeah, obviously if we win, we obviously go 8 points clear. If Aberdeen win their game, I think they're playing Motherwell, they'll be 8 points in front of Rangers. And then it's over to Dundee United. If Dundee United can beat them at Tannadice, they'll be 4 points in front. And oh boy, it could be an interesting one. But yeah, that's a good point to bring up, Shell. That's an extra incentive there. Just heaps even more pressure on them. But yeah, we'll worry about our game first and foremost. I'm going to say 4 as well. I'm going to go into that. I think we will beat them pretty comfortably. And yeah, I think we'll be cruising again without really having to go up the gears. I think we'll get an early goal again. And we'll just take them apart, and then by about the 65th, 70th minute, you'll be looking at a few substitutions to just keep people protected for Wednesday night. And yeah, then it's onwards to Bratislava or to Celtic Park to play Slovan Bratislava. So yeah, looking forward to it. It's going to be a big week. It's good to have Celtic back, and yeah, it's good to be back on the Friday feeling. It's good to have you on again, Liam. A pleasure as always. But yes, we're out of here, folks. If you're going to the game tomorrow, obviously enjoy it. If you're watching it, whatever. If you're in Canada watching it like Liam is, then obviously, hopefully we've got a good positive result. And yes, PMP will be on tomorrow sometime after the game. So hit that subscribe button and you won't miss it when it starts. Okay, guys, we're out of here and we shall catch you later. See yous.